This is absolutely Essendon. It's our round 24 game review against the Lions up at the Gabba. The Dons going down by 20 points. A respectable score in the end, but the question is, had the Lions put the cue in the rack, or did the Dons give a last quarter yelp? Did they do it for Tyson? This, of course, was Dyson. Oh, not Tyson. He's that boxer. Dyson. This was the farewell game for Dyson up at the Gabba, where absolutely nobody gave a shit. But they did it anyway, and they had the special paraphernalia on the jumpers.
Kahuna.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was. So it was a bit of a farewell for him in the end, and he gathered 34 disposals, I might add. Were you emotional?
No, but I believe the contracts are being drawn up for a further 3 years for Dyson.
Oh, without a doubt.
After that game. And doesn't that just make an absolute mockery of the discussion around his lack of selection the previous week, because Brad was bringing his best 23 to bear with the inclusion of Wiedemann, who had 4 possessions or 5 possessions, and then Dyson came out and had 34 and actually looked like probably the most accomplished footballer in the team. Yeah. So well done, Dyson. Amazing career. Run while you can. Don't be tempted by any contracts. The evil, they're coming for him, I would imagine.
They would.
They would.
Just say, let's just do one more year.
Might milk some more money out of those footy jumpers as well.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see that the great Dustin Martin also farewelled his beloved Tiger Army at the MCG.
Yeah.
I didn't see anyone wearing any farewell Dustin jumpers out there. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, he wasn't playing.
He wasn't
playing. No.
Still, there would have been some if Dyson had the career of Dustin Martin, the Essendon players would have been wearing gilt-edged gold leaf football jumpers.
Yeah.
That's how ridiculous our marketing
with a tattoo sleeve.
Yeah, correct.
Well, I mean, I have a feeling that they did the whole sort of special commemorative jumper thing, maybe because the backlash last week was very, very strong. That said, there was a lot of people in our comment section that said, you know what, Dyson's been given 2 years of farewell games. A little harsh, I thought.
Yes, very harsh.
But many pointing to the fact that Simon Madden, Tim Watson, none of them received farewell games.
Terry Danaher.
Yeah, TD.
Yeah.
Right.
Cale Hooker.
Yes. No, he did. No, it was Tom Bell-Chambers.
Yes. Cale probably as well.
Yes.
We don't like saying goodbye.
So not everyone was on the give Dyson a farewell, but as you said, given who they played in the squad last week, it really should have been in Melbourne, and I think that they realised, and it's just symptomatic of the often tone deafness of this club.
I noticed Dyson's brother made it, surprised him by attending the game, which is beautiful and wonderful. But I was also equally surprised that Dyson's brother has just broken a world record for walking backwards up Kilimanjaro, something that you can relate to.
I can.
Is that true, or am I mishearing something?
I don't know. I haven't heard that at all. I just saw his fancy beret that he was wearing, and I thought maybe he'd come from Paris. But look,
walking backwards up Kilimanjaro.
Doing Kilimanjaro backwards, like you're just trying to show off there. That's all.
Maybe we need to get him off the halfback flank. Better than doing Arizona pre-season. Yeah. Maybe walking backwards up Kilimanjaro should be the go-to for our.
For me, it was hard enough just walking forwards. Let me tell you.
You were probably inebriated as well going up there. God, just keeping me warm.
No, not at all. So that was the game. But
great game.
So really the Lions were just so in control. Basically from about the 9-second mark, really, going forward. And yes, the Dons kicked about 5 or 6 goals in succession in that last quarter. But really, I think it was. I think it was all over. It was nice. It was a bit of feel good, but
didn't Brisbane kick like 48 points or something?
Well, I think 11 goals, 17.
No. Keep going higher.
11-21.
21, that's what it was.
11-21, it was. Yeah, so really, they should have won by 12 goals.
They were mocking us. They were going to try and beat us with just behinds. That was their plan.
Yeah, and they almost did.
They
it too.
probably got close. Look, I wouldn't read anything into that last quarter surge, that powerful Essendon surge.
You're not going to read into it?
No, not at all.
Well, our coach, after the game, he was heartened by it. He said it was a springboard into the off-season.
Deluded donut.
Maybe not a springboard, maybe a
I tell you,
soft
how long's
cushion?
Brad's contract for? Because he is rapidly, he's driving himself to the exit gate at the moment. If he cannot just come clean with us fans and say absolutely nothing that we've done this year has been good enough, apart from 2 or 3 players that have improved, we've got nothing to say. That was a season of progression. There was certainly not infinite improvement, and right to the very last death knell, it was pretty appalling. I'll be honest, Smoking, I didn't watch the game. I saw some highlights packages. Yes, because I value my sanity.
I watched it to the bitter end.
I saw the great Ben Mackay butcher the ball 40 times. That was about the end of it for
there
me.
Was there was about possibly 5 or 6 instances where the Bombers were just handballing just directly to Brisbane Lions players. The commentators
jumper clash.
They would, the commentators were running with the jumper clash. Interestingly, the Lions didn't seem to have those sort of issues. Their eyes just seem to be a little bit.
So we've got colour blindness as well as pathetic disposal skills. It's not a good combo, is it?
Look, ultimately the story of the night was the same. Just more lapses in concentration, more just not doing the right thing at the right time. Poor decision making. Just really, unfortunately, the story of the season. There were a couple of positives, but
go for it.
Langford, who has been much maligned of late, probably for the last 5 or 6 weeks, he kicked 3 goals, but more importantly was just very, very competitive around the ground.
Much maligned for a reason.
Well, I never felt like really kicking him while he was down as many as others did. I didn't think it was all necessarily his fault. Yes, he had a little bit of the yips. That isn't. They may not necessarily be totally gone. Although last night it was. But he was competitive around the ground. And when you compare that, he kicked. What did he kick last year? 51 goals. Yeah. So he's ended up with 43 goals this year, with quite a lull there for about 5 or 6 weeks. Would you say that is success or otherwise?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean, he did all right. He did all right. I mean, Langford's a keeper. There's no question about that. But I think his partner in crime on the other
flank. Let's talk about Stringer.
Probably isn't.
Let's talk about Stringer. He ended up with 42 goals.
He did. Look, well done. I think Stringer and his contract is going to be a real litmus test for this football club in terms of how serious they are. On the surface, maybe a year on a reduced contract is fair enough, but I just don't see the point in it. In fact, let him go and finish career somewhere where maybe he can get some final success. For us, we've got to be thinking of the future. He's not the future. What's he going to achieve by playing on for another year? It just means someone won't be playing those games that we need to get games into. I'm not afraid of us going back down to the bottom 4 for a couple of years if it means that we develop some of the youth. Look at the difference players like Caddy and Roberts have made. Brian coming into the side towards the end of the year. I mean, they probably should have been in there earlier.
Yeah, but who? Hang on. But who will fill his boots in the short term? Right, we need those 40, 45 goals. Who would do that?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see improvement from the likes of Caddy. Hopefully Jones will go up again another level. You've got to get Martin into the forward line where he always kicks goals.
No doubt.
Maybe Perkins has got to be a permanent half forward. I thought, that's where his future would be. So Stringer, sure, he plays another season, make another 25, 35 goals, great. So what? We're not going to finish in the finals next year. Anyone who thinks we are is fooling themselves. We need to build a team for the future, and he's not a part of that. So I think this is a real test of where this football club is at. A ruthless club a la Hawthorn would be saying, Jake, thanks for your service, off you go. And we're going to bring in some young kids. We're going to go hard at the draft. We're going to play the money ball game and get guys like Dambrosio into the side who had a brilliant game for them as they dismantled North Melbourne on the weekend. So, what's the point? What's the point in keeping Stringer? There's none whatsoever.
Jeez. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, speaking of the Hawks, we're recording this on Sunday afternoon, and the Hawks have locked their position in the top 8. Unbelievably. I'm still staggered by that. But
if I have one question to ask David Barham at the AGM, and by all means I hope to be asking it, is whose decision was it to let Massimo Dambrosio walk away from this team? I mean, whose decision was it? I mean, everyone could see that he was one of the few players, albeit a young, inexperienced and up-and-coming player, but he had a decent left foot. He could kick the ball.
Skills.
He had those skills. Everyone could see that from day one. And if that's something, surely that's something that as a football club we are in desperate need of, is guys with decent disposal. And he's just tearing it up at Hawthorn and tearing it up in a very good team. So that's an appalling piece of list management. And, really someone's got to be held accountable for those decisions. It just beggars belief, frankly speaking. So
I think we're all shocked.
So look, I'm not going to say it was all doom and gloom this year, but it certainly wasn't the year we'd hoped for.
Well, we ended up with 11 wins, 11 losses, 1 draw.
Yeah. Much the same as the previous year.
Yes, it was. I think we're all hoping, when we talked pre-season about what we'd be happy with, I think you and I were saying, 6th, 7th, knowing that we may only just scrape into 8th, but we didn't even get close in the end. Let's
Listen,
face
you
it.
don't go and chase guys like Ben Mackay, Gresham, even Dersma, Goldstein in the off season if you don't think you're a chance of making finals. I mean, it would be just stupid list management otherwise. So clearly the brains trust at the hangar felt that we were a chance for finals. So every time Brad talks it down in his press conferences, just remember that. We didn't go for the draft last year. We went for experienced players to fill holes. And that to me says that they felt they were a real chance at playing and possibly winning a finals game. So when Brad says, look, this fade away, look at it the other way. I mean, if we'd won those 10, 11 games in a run towards the end of the season, everyone would be going, wow, we're on our way, something to look forward to next year. But I just don't buy that. I think the fall away in terms of the absolute ridiculous game plan that we adopted. Just the lack of skills, the poor disposal, poor football all around, missing easy shots at goals. This is a more than just a team that's kind of gradually growing into its skin. This is a team that's falling off a cliff, and I think they went backwards this year. To be perfectly honest.
Well, I think you could mount a case. I mean, all teams deal with those sort of issues from time to time. Obviously, we seem to be dealing with just all of them at once. And I even get a little bit tired talking about this list and the improvements in the list and the big-bodied midfielder and the small nuggety forward. I mean, as my mum used to say growing up, they've all got 2 arms and 2 legs. Why can't they be competitive? Okay, we may not be premiers, but surely it's enough to think that maybe we could see some finals action. Why not?
Well, we've talked about it all season. In terms of the more that Essendon tries to improve its overall output, the worse it becomes. And it's that whole thing about maybe if we didn't think so hard about it, we'd just improve naturally. But there's too many people in that club making bad decisions, and that's why I think this off season is absolutely critical for us to go cut deep into the list, get rid of players that are just not going to be part of the future, go hard at the draft. This draft year is going to be a good one, and we've got a new recruitment manager who maybe can spot some talent that previously would have passed us by. I think for us to sort of put the guys like Stringer and Shield and even Parrish to a degree as a part of the future, I just don't see it being the right approach for us. I think we've got to go and get young talent and look at developing them as best as possible. Give the young guys in the squad that we have now a proper run at playing in the firsts. There's guys in the VFL team like Hayes. He's been on the list for 2 years. Still hasn't had a senior game, not one. And we were screaming out for defenders this year. Most of our key defenders went down with injuries. Baldwin, Ridley, Reid, of course, and still Hayes, who was taken as a second-round draft pick. I think it was number 26. Still can't get into this team.
Yeah.
But when they do get a chance, they show that they've got some ability. So, Brad Scott has a terrible reputation for not developing young players, and I fear that that's going to continue unless we make a complete U-turn on some of these list management decisions and start to get rid of the passengers and start to build a future around a young team that can develop over time together.
Yeah, I mean, that said, the backline there, those players you mentioned, really, it's only Ridley who's got a permanent spot there. Otherwise, it was just a bit of a concern, actually, I think, what happened.
Reid would have played if had he been fit, for sure.
How many years have we been saying that?
I don't disagree, but the thinking is that he would have played. He played the first game and then went off with a hamstring.
Okay.
But I think Baldwin most probably will be delisted at the end of this year, which is wrong. He's a guy who can actually kick the football. He's got a fantastic kick. Probably a little undersized as a key position defender, but I would still persist with him. Laverde, on the other hand, I think his time's up. I think Laverde is a warrior. He's a trier. He's just simply not good enough and has shown over and over throughout the season that he's out of his depth. So, we've got to be brutal. We've got to be ruthless. We just can't come back next year with effectively the same group of players, albeit a group that have trotted off to Arizona again and done another, paid it on their own pre-season.
Maybe they all need to go to Kilimanjaro and walk up backwards.
Probably.
That may be.
Yeah.
But, this time last year in the off-season, we made a big joke about when is peak delusion period, because, we forget the wounds of the previous season, and then as time goes by, we start to dream about the future. I don't know if that's going to be happening this time round.
No.
I don't know. No, we've seen a couple of years under the new regime, and I'm not sure if all the things that we think will be addressed in the off-season. But if you were coach, if you're administrator, talk about the list enhancements, sure, but what's the one thing, do you reckon, that really needs to be addressed that would move the needle on performance the quickest, if you like? Best bang for your buck. Do you feel me?
Yeah, I do. I don't think there is an immediate answer. There's not one thing that can be done that's going to change. I think it's everything. It's the whole, the administration of the football club. It's the development. It's the fitness and high performance training. It's the player list. It's the coaching. I think it's everything. It's the culture, probably above all else, that the football club has lost its meaning. It's not what it once was. Essendon was once an incredibly powerful sporting organisation. Finals were guaranteed pretty much every year, but those finals were earned by players who gave it their all. I think this current generation of players just don't have the hunger. They don't have the leadership, frankly speaking, that perhaps the previous generations of Essendon teams had. So I don't think there's one thing that you could change. Let's assume that Brad Scott's going to be there for the next 12 months at least. The vast majority of the squad will be there. There will be some incomings and outgoings, of course. I think there's going to be some moves on the coaching front. Caracella's left. He was only coaching the VFL team this year. There's a lot of talk about Justin Lepich coming across as an assistant coach from Collingwood.
If you were him, would you go to Essendon?
Well, he's a friend of Brad Scott, so I guess he's probably been sold that this is a special project that they can build this team together.
I love the thought of it.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong.
No, I think Lepich would be good.
A heartbeat.
But I honestly believe it comes down to the list, and it comes down to the quality of players. And we've got some really, really good players, no question about it. I think the big positives, if there are any from this year, is certainly the emergence of Caldwell, Durham, the arrival of Caddy, who, he's still a few years away from being the superstar we hope he will be, but he's showing signs. I think Roberts looks like a real prospect.
Oh man, he was just again so composed last night.
Made a few mistakes, and from what I've seen,
so did Martin.
But,
so did
they all
Mackay. But I think 25 disposals.
Yeah, there's a lot to
28.
lot to look forward to with him. And then of course in the draft we're probably going to pick up this young Isaac Kako, who's a small forward in the much in the sort of mould of that Hawthorn one. What's his name? The Wizard.
Watson.
Small.
Is he the Wizard?
I think he is, yeah. Or he certainly plays like one. Right. So that's something to look forward to. Yeah. But we've got holes in our list. We need a dominant key position forward. Is Peter Wright the answer? Probably not. So where do you find one of those, Where do you go out and find a guy like a Jeremy Cameron who just kicked 9 goals, 9 goals won? They don't fall off trees for sure, but we do need that for sure.
That's the issue, and that's something I've been thinking about. Is there you talk about finding all these players? Is there enough stock to go around? Because the AFL is looking to expand into Tasmania. There's another team, and then they want to go to Northern Territory. The AFL wants to get to 20 clubs and leave it at that. They all need players, and it's not like big-bodied midfielders come off a conveyor belt out in Ballarat, or nuggety small forwards. They just press a few buttons. But maybe there isn't enough players to go around.
There isn't. I mean, it'd be a pretty boring competition if everyone had access to equally talented players. They are scarce, and it takes a smart recruitment team to find them, and it takes an even smarter development team to make them the players that they can be.
Yeah.
But for sure,
that's the point.
We need to get that small forward. I don't think Menzies is the answer. He's had his contract extended for a year. The Davey boys are looking very raw at this stage. Maybe not. So I think getting Kako, who does look very promising, he's likely to be a top 15 pick anyway, whether we take him or not. And I think we will take him. And then getting the tall forward, a guy who can sort of grow up with a Nate Caddy would be fantastic, right? To have the two guys like Lloyd and Lucas did in their day. They basically started at the same time and they finished their careers at the same time. They played exactly the same number of games too.
Did they really?
Yeah. 253, I think it was.
Yeah.
Lloyd and Lucas. So get a partner for Caddy. Yeah. It would be. I know it's not Peter Wright. Peter Wright can still have a role to play, but I don't think he's the future. And I think then that sort of bigger, stronger mid-type player, Cripps, Bontempelli type player, if we could get our hands on one of those, that would be fantastic.
That'd be nice.
And down back, we need a couple of really good small defenders, lockdown type defenders. So we could be 4 or 5 players away from having a very good side. No doubt about it. But we've got to go and get them, and we've got to develop them, and we've got to give them opportunities. We just can't let them sit in the VFL side and do nothing.
Away.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's Mad Monday. For the boys.
What do you think they're going to turn up as?
Professional footballers? Boomtish? No. No, I don't know. I think that's always a movie theme or it's some kind of...
The best one was the Geelong team after they won the flag a couple of years ago.
That was very nice.
Came in with the walking frames.
All the senior citizens. Yeah. It was very, very nice.
Not only are they great footballers, they are funny guys too down at Geelong.
Yes, they are. Hey, they got it all.
14 of the last 18 seasons, they have finished in the top 4.
We know we have a lot of Geelong supporters that do what. In fact, we know we have a lot of non-Essendon supporters that do follow this channel for some reason.
They were Essendon supporters once, probably.
Maybe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now they've gone to the Suns or something.
Drifted.
We know you're just here because you enjoy this car crash that is the Essendon Football Club at the moment. And you know what? That's okay. You can come here. Feel free. Stick around. Hey, wallow. Enjoy our pain because it looks like it's going to continue for some time.
Yeah, I think it will.
To be a Geelong supporter, I mean...
And did they complain? I have a few Geelong friends who say, gee, we've been down for a while.
They have a go at Chris Scott.
Yeah, Chris Scott, twice he's won a premiership for them. And he's like a plague on their house. A pox on their house. But, it just shows you, right? Some people are fat with feathers.
Right.
We're not.
No, not us.
But is it that hard? Is it really, is the formula that difficult to I remember David Barham actually saying when he took over the reins, he quoted, clubs like Geelong and Sydney, and we've just got to see how they do it. We've just got to look at what they do and do the same things. So we've had 2 years to do that, and we signed Menzies on for another year. We let Massimo D'Ambrosio go. We threw a bucket-load of cash at a one-trick pony in Ben Mackay. We went chasing Jade Gresham, who the St Kilda fans were so delighted that we could take them off their hands. I mean, have we learnt anything? Are we doing the things that Geelong and Sydney and these good clubs do year in, year out? I'm not sure.
No.
Maybe we're heading in the right direction, but I don't think we've actually displayed those characteristics as yet.
No, we have not.
Getting rid of Dodoro, letting Sheedy go, they're the sort of things that we should have done a while ago, moving on from the past. And, with Heppell having now retired, that is pretty much all links with the dark past gone. And we've got a fresh blank canvas, hopefully, now that we can build upon and take this football club forward again.
Yes. Well said.
Thank you.
Well said. All right. Well, I think that's about it for today. We're probably going to be around in the off season. I mean, we did have our Hot or Not series that we kind of took a break from.
It was popular too.
Yeah, it was.
Until.
Well, everyone went not. Not so hot.
So the mystery went out of it, didn't it? After about round 10, it wasn't much point in doing hot or... We could have done not or not. Or we could have done...
How not?
Shit or horrid. I mean, I guess there was a few variations on the theme there. But I think we will have a big off-season. A lot of exciting plans for the show. We're looking to start up live streaming in the near future, not this year, but in the coming season.
Yes.
We're looking forward to sharing game day with you all. If you can't make it to the game, we'll be there to help you through.
Maybe do some Q&A.
Do that. And I think we've got some big guests lined up for season 2025. They keep knocking on the door asking to be on the show.
They do.
We've just told them to talk to our people, but hopefully there will be some big names joining us, like the great Gary O'Donnell earlier in the season.
That was
the even greater Felix from Everything Essendon joined us a couple of times.
That's right. Now, we had a bit of mail in the inbox this week as well.
I thought you were talking about Turkish bathroom for a minute.
No. Was there anything you wanted to mention there? You keep an eye on that inbox there.
I do, very closely. You want to just prompt me a little more?
There was some interesting poetry there that we received.
We did. Oh, of course, yes. There's a gentleman who, he's one of the few people actually goes to the email and as opposed to the comment section. But that's okay. Each to your own.
Yes.
But he did send in a wonderful poem, which I think you recall. Could you perhaps relay that to the audience?
I can't recite it, but maybe,
what was the gentleman's name?
Well, I can't recall. I think he was from the UK.
Shall I?
I got a feeling.
Was he from the UK?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I just have a sneaking suspicion.
Oh, he's asked for his name not to be revealed.
Oh, right. Yes. No, that's right. It was anonymous. Yeah,
yes.
I don't think he left a name, so we can't even give him a shout out. But it was a wonderful piece of poetry.
Brilliant.
Beautiful.
I don't know why we're going on about it so much.
Because we can't even share it. And then there was more mail from someone. Were they suggesting the keepers for 2025? Maybe we can, in terms of the playing list. Was it not?
Oh, right. Yeah, that's true. Not? Well, we're no doubt going to be back around the trade period.
I'm really sorry I even brought that up.
I don't know.
Sorry to those people.
Terrible distraction.
It's not, but we will circle back to that.
Early
the ensuing
onset
weeks.
Dementia, I think they call that.
Possibly, yeah.
But never mind. He tries. Now, there will be a lot to look forward to, and I think the trade period, which is always the most exciting time of the year for us Bomber fans.
How sad's that?
My fear is that we're not going to win trade period this year with the great Adrian Dodoro not flashing the cash.
We're going to lose it.
We might not. We may tumble down that ladder as well.
Matt Rosa might be a little more frugal.
He might be a bit meeker on the dance floor,
right?
Than the great Dodoro. So
good luck. Help.
Yeah, good luck, Matt. No pressure, mate.
No.
You've got 21 years of shit list management to overcome, but hopefully now that he is not getting elbowed in the kidneys in the corridors back at the hangar from Adrian as he walks past to get his donuts in the morning.
Yeah.
Matt will have every chance to really shine and show us what he can do.
Unfettered.
Yeah, clean air.
Unencumbered.
Clean air.
Just walking with his shoulders back. I hope so. We look forward to good things.